Hello, welcome to another Tech Tuesday session. In this session, we will learn how Padlet can help with our last learning-focused strategies lessons on formative assessment, feedback, and remediation. With Padlet, we can do many of the suggestions from this booklet. So for instance, formative assessment during learning activities, which is on pages 9 and 10 of your booklet from Learning Focused. Easily, Padlet could be done with the quick write, with the 3-2-1, the picture frame summary, with the Dear Teacher, the 3-5-3 poem, Connect 4, what can we learn? There's all kinds of ways that this can be used as well. Also, Padlet's a great summarization tool. So those suggestions that are on page 12 is something else that you could also definitely do with Padlet. And don't forget, some of these summarizing strategy examples could also be done with Padlet. So I think Padlet is a really good online resource that can be used with our MacBooks, with the student's BYOT or D, technology or device, whichever you like, or with iPads or tablets. So let's do a screen share now and go in and look at how to join up with Padlet and how to create a Padlet to use for formative assessment, feedback, and remediation. So I'm going to do a screen share. I'm going to share my desktop with you. And we're just going to go out and open up a brand new tab online. Now, I would suggest, and this is always easier, go ahead and be logged into your school Google account. If you want to use your personal Google account, you can do that as well. And we're just going to type in Padlet. After we type in Padlet and press enter, we should see, the first thing we should see is Padlet is the easiest way to create and collaborate in the world. And we're just going to want to go ahead and click on there. So if you already have an account, you're going to click log in. But if this is your first time, we'll want to click sign up. And this is why I said log in with your Google account. It makes everything so much easier. So we're going to say sign up with Google. And that's going to take you through that process of signing up. And of course, I have more than one Google account. I'm going to say I want to sign in with my school Google account. It's going to ask you some questions, but we're just going to click that blue button, accept. We're going to say, yes, I'm a teacher. And if you're not a teacher, if you're doing this with your kids, you'd say, no, I'm not a teacher. Yes, I'm a teacher. And now you have all this information here. But really all we need right now is right up here where it says create new Padlet. So we're going to click on that. And now we have a completely blank form here. So we kind of want to jazz this up a little bit. So we're going to come down here. There's a black bar here with a lot of different little icons. We're going to come to the very last icon that looks like a gear, and it says modify this wall. That's where we will come in and make some modifications. So let's say, for instance, the students are reading a story, The Talented Clementine. And the description would be what I want the students to do on this Padlet. So I might want my students to write a 3-5-3 poem based on our story. Okay, which would be the story of the talented Clementine. So once I have that in, I can choose a picture that I want to go with this. So for instance, if I chose someone playing soccer, then that puts that soccer picture right here. Now I can also go in and add my own pictures, and you might want to do that from time to time to customize. So I'm going to show you real quick. You'd add. If you know the URL of the picture, you can get that. But most of the time, I just upload. I go out onto my desktop and look in my iPhotos. And so I could find a picture that maybe I would want to go with that. And let's see. Let's see, that's the hardest thing is what in the world do I want to use? Why don't we use my fat kitty cat? I'll put him in there. So once I've found the picture I want, I'll click submit, and now you see there's my fat kitty cat. It has nothing to do with this, but it's just an example. So now we're going to work our way down this yellow line. So we just did the basic information, title, description, or directions on what we want our students to do in this Padlet, and adding an image. Next, we're going to click on Wallpaper. And this is where you can change the background to be a different background. And again, you might want to do something that's more related to what your students are doing. And so if you want to, again, upload your own picture, you can do that as well. But you know what? I think this notebook would be just fine. Or you know what? I like the cork board. So we'll do the cork board. And so that's all we have to do for wallpaper. Next is layout. In a classroom, I would never encourage using freeform. That becomes quite a mess. I would either use stream. That's where everybody's work would be one under the other. Or I like grid. That's where you have boxes next to each other, but they're not covering each other up. Next down is privacy. I usually just keep my privacy on hidden link and that my students can write on it. One thing you might want to do as an educator is to click here, moderate the post. When you click on that to moderate the post, that does not allow any of the posts to go through until you have approved it. That way, if a student puts something inappropriate, you have control over that as well. You can also set it as private, password protect. You can give different types of permissions under here, or you can make it totally public. That's all up to you, or you can invite people by email, but really, this is the easiest way. Make sure when you're done choosing what you want, you click submit. Next is notifications. This is just going to ask you, I want you to send me emails every time. I usually just don't even do that. I know where to come to find this if I want it. So leave that unchecked unless you just want more emails every day. Next thing is to go down to address. Now it will default with Padlet.com, your name, and then a default URL. But you can also customize this. So if I know that this is a 353 poem that I'm having my kids do, I could type in 353 and notice it says it's available. I'm going to click pick, and now it's changed the URL to Padlet.com with my name with just 353. So now I can come in and I can copy that link address and I can share that link address out. I could copy this if I want to, or I can delete it here. I usually don't do either one of those unless I need a quick change with the copy. So we have everything done here. So now that everything's done, we just need to send that link out to our students. You could put that link on a Symbaloo. You could put it into your learning management system like Moodle or Edmodo or Schoology or any of the 100 other learning management systems you have, or put the link onto your website. So we're going to come out and we're going to just pretend that that link is on a website, and now we're going to put that in. And the student has now clicked on that link. And so now this is from the student point of view. This is what the student sees. Notice they don't have the gear down here, so they can't make any changes to this wall except for the changes you're allowing them. So they're going to double click anywhere. And because I have this set up on grid, it's going to always put the new thing right up here. So I would want the student to start out by putting their name, their full name. And if you're doing this where you have classes with periods, you might want them to put third period or something like that. So that's all up to you and what you're doing in your classroom. And so now the instructions were to write a 353 poem based on our story. And so I'm going to type in a 353 poem that I'm obviously copying out of our book. That has nothing to do with the story. But of course you'd want your students to actually do that work. Now, for your students, they could also, if you wanted them to, they could add a URL, an image, or take a picture of themselves, which we don't want. So you could always tell them, you know, upload a picture that goes with this, or they could find something else. So I could always go out online and I could look up the talented Clementine, and I can see there's lots of different things here about the talented Clementine, but maybe I'd like a YouTube video. Oh, look, here's a quiz. I could include a quiz for the talented Clementine. So your students would need to know to come in and copy. And then they're going to go back to here, and because that's a link, I'm going to click on link, and I'm going to paste that and click add. And so there that is. Now notice it says requires approval. So that means as the teacher, now I'm back in teacher view, I can either remove this if I don't like what the student has put, or I can approve it. I can also come in, if something needs to be changed, I can click edit this post, and I can edit the post for that student if I need to. But I'm going to go ahead and click approve. And if I refresh the student page, then I'm going to see that that's been approved. And as the student, I can come in and correct this as well. Now, as other students appear on here, I can only edit my own Padlet, not anybody else's Padlet. As the student, as a teacher, I have rights to edit anyone's Padlet. So that's the quick and short version of how to use Padlet in your classroom. That goes along and supports our learning-focused lesson, formative assessments, feedback, and remediation. I hope that this has helped you, and I'll see you for our next Tech Tuesday session. Thank you.